Welcome back to the table, everyone. It is now time to finally get out the Commands and Colors and play Commands and Colors Napoleonics. I picked this up a while ago, right? We did an unboxing on this, and I'm actually really excited to actually get it to the table and play. I've been playing a lot of other stuff I want to get back to. Someone had sent me an email and they had asked one time, they said, hey, you got a lot of games, I got a lot of games. How do you decide what to play and make time to fit it all in? One, I never have enough time to fit it all in, but sometimes you just got to grab something and play it. And I did set this up once before and kind of played just to kind of practice it out. The game itself doesn't seem all that complicated. Oh, I better not flip this upside down to look at the back. It'll lose all the pieces. But, I've watched some tutorials online. The basic mechanics are just that. They're not difficult at all. And, I'm knocking other stuff over. And I don't think it'll be difficult to play. I've played Memoir 44 with my son quite a bit, so I'm kind of familiar with the whole, your command cards and issue orders with the cards. But this has some things on all its own, such as the rules for putting people in square and some things like that. Like if your infantry are next to leadership, they ignore a wound before they get pushed back. There's some things specific to Napoleonics I'll have to try to remember. Let's see, why do I got these out? Don't know why those fell out. So we're going to set this up. So that's what this video is just setting up, having a conversation while I set the game up, and then we'll hop in and play. So just kind of consider this maybe the hobby update video. So a couple things is, first of all, which scenario, where'd my scenario book go? Oh, it's right here. I figured what I would do is do like everybody in the world, and we'll just start with scenario 1. Rolica, maybe. French first position, 17 August. Plus, since my birthday is 16 August, that sounds good to me. I won't read the historical background here, but I just need the little map out so I can figure out where to put stuff and where to put the troops. But we'll start with scenario 1. And then as we move along in this scenario and we actually play, as always, don't hesitate to tell me what I got wrong. What's cool is, I don't think I ever have to tell people that. I think people are quite happy to tell me when I do things wrong. I've noticed that's the thing. I like going to other people's channels and watching, and there never seems to be a limit to people saying, hey, here's what you got wrong. But I actually like that because I want to know how to play the game properly. If I ever sit down and play somebody else, it's nice if we're all playing from a common set of rules. And this board is a little bit bigger than I thought, so I'm trying to flatten this out so I get to fit on the table. So yeah, if ever you see something wrong or have recommendations, don't ever hesitate to leave that in the comments, because either A, that's going to help someone else learn, B, it's going to help me learn, and then hopefully it's more enjoyable. Because if you're a big fan of a game and you watch someone else play it and you clearly see that they're mucking it up, that can ruin your enjoyment, because now you're worried about, why is this guy getting it wrong? So I want to try and get it right. Alright, so I'm not sure where I want to put all this paperwork without having it fall all over. Okay, so first things first, we're going to set these little terrain tiles up. And I'd say this is the only thing I really don't like about the game. On Steam, if you do Tabletop Simulator, I think they've got... I downloaded this once and looked at it to play with it. I think it actually includes pre-set up maps. I mean, obviously you could set up yourself with the Tabletop Simulator, but I think it's kind of cool that I think some of the scenarios come pre-set up, so I like that. I almost wish if I had money, what would be cool, because I thought I saw someone else do this. Like, they took the map board and printed out larger maps, but then they also had like pre-made with the tiles or something. I don't know. It cut down on setup if you could have some of this stuff pre-done for you, because this for me was like the hardest part, is putting all these little tiles out. So yeah, I'll let you watch me do that. So yay, welcome. So here we go. All right, now this is Napoleonics, and in the unboxing video I was talking about how I was happy to get this to play because I like Napoleonics, but I am not an expert at Napoleonics. Like, I have very limited knowledge. I have a friend that I do some tabletop gaming with, miniature gaming, and he is a huge fan of Napoleonics, and he's got quite a collection of soldiers. And I think the thing that holds me back, it's not so much the idea that you have to have like a lot of miniatures to make this happen, because you know you're talking thousands and thousands. That happens on any period of gaming that you do that has a significant amount of people, you know, ancients, things like that. Lots and lots of potentially that you got to, you know, figures you have to paint, collect, store. But with Napoleonics, one of the challenges is knowing what to collect. You know, you actually have some decisions to make. The same thing, I guess, if you play like Flames of War or, you know, just about any miniatures game, is one, is there a particular faction you're going to play? You know, is there, because like with Napoleonics, you have a lot of, there's minor principalities, kingdoms, nations, and then even within that, each of those have their own uniforms. Infantry might dress a certain way, cavalry might dress a certain way, and then you might have, you know, different cavalry regiments have maybe certain markings or things that they wear to differentiate them. So it's like you have to be very specific. And what I've seen is with Napoleonics, it feels like that one you need to be very, very careful and respectful of. And I'm fine with that. It's just what I mean by that is people will really notice if you get it wrong. You know, like they know that a particular jacket of a particular regiment had to have a certain amount of buttons in just a certain way. And if you get the buttons on the jacket wrong, you've messed it up. You know, it's like, oh, that's not the 7th Regiment. You've got the 5th Regiment. And when you play historical scenarios in Napoleonic warfare, you're playing certain, you know, you're replicating certain battles that had certain regiments and things like that. I'm probably getting some of the incorrect tiles here, but it looks close enough. So it was just interesting to me how specific Napoleonics can be. Then that even depends on the rule set you're using. Like the rule set I'm playing with my friend, I really, really like. It's Napoleon's Battles. And so far, I've only played 2 rule sets. I've looked at other ones. Another one is called ESR, which has some interesting concepts as well. But the, where is this city going to go? Right there, Rolica. Napoleon's Battles, I like that for several reasons, and I might share that here in a minute. I probably will, just to talk and pass time. But the way they do orders of battle, because with that one you play scenarios. I haven't really seen anything for that, for making pickup games where you and the person you're playing with or your opponent, does that look right? Kind of bends up, bends back around. But with Napoleon's Battles, I didn't see anything that looked like a point system, rosters for you to just say, okay, I'm going to take some regiments of, you know, French or British or anything like that. It was very much a scenario-driven game system, which is cool. I don't mind that, because right now what I'm playing with my friend is we're playing Quatre Bras, which I might be saying that wrong, but that's a pretty famous battle, and there's a lot of information on what units fought in that, divisions, things like that. And so with Napoleon's Battles, that's how it's played, is with scenarios. And then in those scenarios, you have like tags that you put on your limits, or on your units, these tags that you can cut out, and that tells you what division, what brigade that was, what type of troop it was. So it is very, very specific. And I bring that up because my friend was like, yeah, let's play Quatre Bras, but I have to finish painting my Nassau troops. Because, of course, I was like, oh, cool. I didn't know that that the Caribbean was involved. And he was like, no, you dummy. There's a principality, like in Germany or something like that, the Nassau. So I was like, oh, okay, well, you learn something every day. But that's the thing with Napoleonics gaming is it's got a lot of deep history. So like he wouldn't even play Quatre Bras until he had painted very specific regiments for the Nassau troops. Okay, that's great. On the other hand, I would be much more generic than that. I don't need them painted. If I've got figures, let me just lay them out and let's play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hills. Now, I will admit though, having all those units painted up and specific to their historical units looks really cool on the table, but you have to take the time to set that up and paint it and whatnot, store it. And luckily he does. He's semi-retired, and he's more than happy to stay at home and paint, and he's got troops. In fact, he gave me some miniatures because he has a closet, just a closet down in his office, that he opened it up and it was floor to ceiling with boxes of the figures from a company called like Hat and some other companies. It's just all Napoleonics figures. And he says he's had them for years. And I knew he had them for years. I'm missing some city tiles here. He had them for years because the cost on some of the boxes where it had the receipt, or not the receipt, but yeah, it had the price tag on it. It was like $3 for a box of these plastic soldiers. And I was like, okay, I know plastic troops are cheap, but when I went to go price stuff, a box of like 50 soldiers could still be as cheap as like 20 bucks. So when he's got stuff that says, $3, $4, yeah, he's been collecting for a while. But he said to me he had more soldiers than he would ever be able to paint and mount and play with. So he gave me some. I thought, well, that's cool. However, I tried to tell him painting is not my thing, so I do struggle with that. I would love if somebody came out with like a pre-painted line of figures for Napoleonics. That would be cool. And so, like I said in my unboxing video, that was actually one reason that I really got into the Napoleonics here for the Commands and Colors. I was excited for that because this gives me figures I don't have to paint. I know that seems kind of maybe cheap, but I was like, hey, I can play Napoleonics, I can do these battles, and yeah, I don't have to paint and store thousands of figures. I got lots of blocks that I have to store and do something with, but that's cool. Give me the blocks any day. But yeah, if somebody, and what I mean by pre-painted, there's some games that offer pre-painted figures, I have a friend that used to play Hero Clicks. If you're not familiar with that, it's you have these little pre-painted figures. They're kind of cheap, they're not expensive, but they have it's a miniatures game, but all the stats are on the base that the figure stands on, and you can rotate the base to show different numbers of like health and movement, and as the little figure takes damage, you rotate the base, and then it will say like how many hit points you have left, and based on your damage you've taken, here's what your new attack values are. I could see pre-painted figures for something here like this for Napoleonics gaming. I think that'd be great. Okay, I think that's all the terrain here. I think what I'm using for the cities are just ever so slightly than what's on the picture here, but that shouldn't matter too much. So now we can go ahead and start pulling out troops. I'm going to try not to muck the map up. So yeah, I don't know if you've seen this before. I thought I shared this. I made a custom insert. I put low walls on the top, so I've got, yeah, I know, I did show this. I had to have. I put the walls on here low. That way it was a little bit easier to reach in and grab the blocks. And then you know, 3 rows for all the infantry. And then I got these little finger cutouts. And then here, this middle section was to store all of these terrain parts. And then underneath, I have dice, the large block. So we've got the artillery, horses will come get in a little bit, and card storage. So this isn't the best insert I've made, but the time that I did play this, it worked out really good for getting all this stuff out. Let's see. So now it's just a matter of putting all these people out. All the French, who's on top? Who likes it on top? That's the French are on top with the Portuguese. And then we've got the French down below. Okay, we can do that. I almost wish these were on separate pages. I hate folding the book over here. Okay, so we got Portuguese lines. That's the brown blocks. I'm going to have to look. There's a couple of these that require like 5 blocks. Some of these are 4 blocks, so I'll have to look and make sure I get it. But right now that's a militia, but it's a line. Yeah, see, that's the thing with the miniatures is, like, take the Portuguese, right? There was a line, there's a militia, but then it's like the different regiments of line might need to be painted a certain way. So you're very stuck into what you're doing if you're doing historical simulations, right? It's like anything, you know, if you're going to play certain regiments of World War II and you have German troops that you're going to play, you're going to try and paint them as close as possible. Luckily, I think World War II gaming has enough kind of generic rule sets that you could probably get away without being super specific. You know, you just, like, I've got a bunch of stuff here for American Airborne. I just kind of painted them a airborne kind of colorish and whatnot, but not a specific unit. Not that there was a whole lot of airborne units, but I think World War II you can be a little more generic with than Napoleonics. Now, I will say this, though, since I don't know any better, my friend could have just handed me completely incorrect stuff. Oh, these are Portuguese light. Yeah, I would have never known that he was handing me incorrect units. Like, I'm not that knowledgeable. But like I said, I just have a feeling that if you play Napoleonics with someone who really knows their history, they're going to know that you've got the wrong colors and whatnot. Yeah, so it's hard to get into Napoleonics unless you find generic rule set. Now I have. So I like Napoleon's battles, but that's definitely a simulationist. What's cool is, though, it does come, if you buy the base game, you can still find it. But it actually comes with generic cutout counters. And those, or they have like blue and green or something like that. So you can play, like, generically play German or Russians and like French. And it's just a cutout counter. And that, for whatever reason, seems to be okay. But by golly, as soon as you want to pull out miniatures, you better get those miniatures right. Okay, let's grab some British line here. I gotta find the lines. Yeah, see, even here there's guard, line, militia, light, guard battalion. What was this, a guard? Yep, guard grenadier. Yeah, so your Napoleonics gets deep. Then you figure that's per country, and then every country has their own color schemes, and that's a lot to manage if you want to get simulationist. Okay, I'm looking for some British line. Here's a line. I gotta get 4 of these. I just need to find a way to organize these better so I can quickly find what I'm looking for. So here's 4 line. But I do kind of like this because, see, these are line. But what I could do is actually, I could use these. And I'm going to try using these with Napoleon's battles as my miniatures. Because it does say line. And, you know, at that point, it really doesn't matter too much because you're going to have a specific unit tag that you assign to things. And those unit tags have some of the specific stats like their morale and things like that. And your leadership bonuses for commanders. Here's some more line troops. So I thought I could use these as replacements for miniatures. I've even thought about getting a board game. There's one I want to get called, I think it's Eagles of the Empire. I think that's what it is. I know Compass Games put out a version. They had like a Spanish. I think Eagles of the Empire is like one of those games where several companies have put out their game using their rule set for that. And I think it looks great. It has like these long counters to represent your column, or your like your when they're deployed in line formation. It's got these long columns, and the map isn't hexes. The map uses area. I think light had 5, but I'll have to go back and check. So for now, you just get 4. And here at the river bend, we'll grab some artillery in a minute. We'll grab the light cav, the other artillery that's down below. So I need 8 more line. Lots more line. Infantry, 1, 2. And for Napoleon's battles, I think this base box actually has enough blocks. Because with Napoleon's battles, a lot of your formations are 4, when you have their bases, it's like 4 bases for a brigade. Some of the larger ones might have 6. So I think this actually has enough blocks in the base game that you could play scenarios out of Napoleon's battle. Yeah, I did look at some other rule sets. There's some, like, I really thought about buying Blucher by Sam Mustafa, because that one you can use miniatures, or it comes with these playing cards that have the division and information on the playing cards, and you put the playing cards on the table. So you can use those cards for like doing blind movement, because you flip it over, it's the nationality flag, and then you flip it, has all the combat stats. And then I know some people, they get miniatures and they kind of replace that card block, and they just keep the unit stat line on their miniature base. So it's a game that can be played with miniatures or these cards. And I thought about that. I might just get into that, because then I'm not worrying about blocks or anything. Just lay out my cards. It's a higher level game. I kind of like the tactical. Believe it or not, some people say this is tactical level. Not specifically commands and colors, because you're not really managing columns, and you do have squares, but you're not doing like attack columns and march columns and putting them in line. But I do, that's one reason I like Napoleon's battles, is I kind of like that idea of saying, okay, I want to put these guys in column. Okay, now I got to get the French. I like that. I thought that was kind of cool. All right, so here's some French line. Oh, I think I know what happened. I left some, well, I don't know. I think I misstickered a couple of these. I think these are my misstickered blocks, so I'm just going to set them aside. I know, how dare you missticker, but I did. But I am ready to buy the next. I want to get my Austrian box. I want to get all. I love this. I've only played the game once just to try it out, and I know I didn't play it correctly, but I really love the concept and I really like the blocks. But yeah, there's a line, 2 line. Okay, got to get some light. Light could be, I guess, your skirmishers or riflers. They usually have a little bit better armory, a little bit freer to move about the board. So there's light. I'm going to have to move this box so I can get to the map here. Yeah, so, yeah, but I was looking at some of the other rule sets that actually have, there was like La Bastille. I was trying to think of it, but it had table organizations where you could say, okay, I just want like a generic French division, and a French division is made up of this. And then it didn't matter. Like, since you weren't doing a historical scenario, you could label it whatever you want. Like, oh, this is my 3rd Dragoons, or my 4th Chasseurs, or something like that. So I think I might want a rule set like that. Something where I can use these blocks and plug it into a division builder, an army builder of some sort. This militia is going to go back here. And then this line goes here. So that's a light line. Grab some more light. 2. And then I'll have to go back and make sure that all these folks have the correct amount of blocks in it. Line. Yeah, I've got the box on camera, so you can't see me thumbing through here to find everything we need. Light. Oh, move them over. Then we have another line. 1, 2, 3. So yeah, if you have any Napoleonics miniatures or board games that you enjoy playing, let me know. Let me know what you think of this one if you've played Commands and Colors before. I know Commands and Colors is very generic in sense of tactics and things like that. Like, I get it. This isn't a simulation like you would have with, say, Napoleon's battles or something like that. I get it. But like I said, for table space and not having to paint lots of miniatures, this for me is just kind of a fun alternative. So I can say, yeah, I'm playing some Napoleonics. Unless you're giving away your Napoleonics miniature collection. Now, if you're doing that, definitely let me know, because I will take those miniatures off your hand in a heartbeat so I can help you out. Okay, I got to take this top layer off now. All these blocks are sliding all over, but I'm going to take this out, and now I can get to cavalry and the leaders, and we're going to pull the dice. Set the dice out. Now, when I play this, just remember, nobody label this as a tutorial. When I actually get to playing, this is just me trying to learn. Okay, so I got to find my Portuguese light cavalry. That's a heavy. Here's a light cavalry. Oh yeah, but I don't know how many blocks go in it. Okay. Guess we can look that up right now. I think what I'll do, I'm looking at the time, 26 minutes? Okay. I'll keep your attention for just a couple more minutes here. And then I'll finish setting up. I figure I was giving myself 30 minutes to mumble through things while I set this up. But one important aspect of the game, if you find it, is you've got your army card. Oh yeah, here was something. I don't know if I showed you these. I printed these out. I thought this was great. I found this on Board Game Geek. So here you have Portugal. This tells you the unit type, how many blocks it has, what its movement, so like it can move one and attack, or it can move one attack, or move two but no attack. There's the range, what the hits do, like you get one die per block, or if you fire and move, because you can move one and attack with them, so then but it's half the number of dice rounded down. So I'm going to use these to finish setting up and make sure I have enough stuff. But yeah, these cards are awesome, and I forgot that I had printed those out, because the cards that come with the game are perfectly serviceable. I just don't think they're laid out as user friendly. They're fine. I mean, here's all the Portuguese stuff right here. Same thing, blocks. I just thought this had a better visual appeal. And they also had one, so maybe this will be the last thing I show you, because we're right about that 30-minute mark. Yeah, they had one for the Russians. There was one that I thought that he had, that the person made, but it was like a work in progress. Maybe not. So there's British. Someone's even got one for the Russians. Oh, I know what it was. Is some of these icons were still just the person silhouette instead of the block picture. Yeah, so that's no big deal. But yeah, they even got the Russians for you. Yeah, they didn't have Austria, so that's fine. But yeah, I want to get the Russians next. I want to get them all. So I don't know. I thought about getting Austria next, but my son really likes the Russians. So maybe I'll get Russians next and then do France against Russia kind of stuff, just to get my son to play. Although he'd probably play Austrians too. I'm not sure. But anyway, I'm going to finish setting this up, and then when we come back, we'll go ahead and start playing the game and see how that looks. So thank you very much. But yeah, please share some thoughts that you have on Napoleonic rule sets that you like. Maybe if you got suggestions for kind of a tactical level where you get to worry about columns and the formations. I liked the opposed dice roll mechanic in Napoleon's battles. So if you have games with similar kind of mechanics, I know Blucher.
I can't see you, but I'm running mic up.
Oh, my wife's pinging me. I just lost train of thought. She Skyped me for a second. But anyway, yeah, let me know what games you play, and I'll see you when we come back.